I remember, uh, oh yeah. Is it going? It's going. It's going. Okay. Interview, take 2. So when I was in college, my dad, my sister, and my aunt Ellen and I, we went on this backpacking trip. My dad had picked this like really remote location in the eastern Sierras that he wanted to see. The entire mountain was essentially sand, and we had to hike. Do these switchbacks on this sand, this cold, cold sand, as these storm clouds were coming up above us. Finally got to the top, and it was very, very beautiful. But then we had to keep on going down into another canyon and hiked down into the canyon and up to this lake. The lake was completely covered by rocks. It froze over during the night, and when we woke up the next morning, the pass that we were supposed to go over was 90% covered with snow and ice, except for this one little point. We were climbing across the snow and this ice, and we kind of it took almost the entire day. And so we finally got to the top of this pass above this lake, and we looked onto the other side, and it was just rocks. Like huge talus from the size of pebbles to the size of houses, and all angled almost 90 degrees. But we had no choice because we had to get back. And these rocks were all just held onto each other like pinpoints, and they would move, and we all got kind of separated from each other, and I could just see as each one of us started falling. And I could remember hearing my dad yell because he fell on his hip, and my sister get completely overturned. I tried to help my aunt out, and then she started crying, and then she was really embarrassed what she was crying because I had never seen her cry. And I was like, why am I doing this? I'm with my family. Like, this is a family vacation. And I'm more afraid of my life than I've ever been. May 6, 1974, to all prospective family trip backpackers. Since many of you are making your first backpacking trip, and probably none of you have gone on a trip such as this, you may have 1 or 2 questions. The trip is quite different from the usual vacation, which has much leisure and little or no schedule.
We're waiting.
We're right here. You see, Robert?
Marty, keep them going down along this line.
This would be north.
For a week, we plan to cast security and comfort aside and go off to face an interlude of sanity.
They would make up games to play, and they made shields and swords, wore things, pots on their heads, and played medieval warriors. They slid on boards down the hill behind the house, and we ended up one time in a hornet's nest. Your Uncle Dave had a snake that he had caught, and it was dead. He put it out, and the bees ate all the meat off the snake. And he had the whole skeleton that he mounted on a board. That's the kind of things that they like to do. Your grandfather wanted to be a minister, and he would have made a good one. But then circumstances came up that he had to go to work and do other things. Ellen went in an old-fashioned car seat strapped to Bob's back,
He would attach them to a frame and then with a webbing in the back, with no padding in the straps, just straps. Little sunshade over the top. I mean, she took us backpacking in the days when all the diapers were cloth diapers, and she washed them in a 5-gallon can.
And she put them on a bush to dry, and some guy came along and he said, "Who's the idiot that brought a baby up here anyway?" And Bob said, "I'm the idiot."
You know how they have those little streams that have nothing in them? You know, that meander through the meadows and all that spongy grass on the bottom. And then they would put Bruce down in there and he couldn't get out and he would just play and he was safe and he would be down there in the little stream.
Dry stream.
You put him in the dry and he couldn't get out.
He couldn't get out.
Playpen right there.
It was a little playpen.
We were going to Thanksgiving or something, and the whole family was in the Volkswagen bus, and Carol was wearing a sundress or something, and my grandmother was pointing out a mole on her back that she should really get checked and taken care of. It was, I don't know how much longer after that they found the melanoma. She was diagnosed while she was pregnant, so they couldn't give her radiation right away.
Bob, after he lost his oldest daughter to melanoma, he was pretty distraught.
And he was deeply depressed. I mean, not showing a lot, and needed to do something.
One of the ministers at the church suggested that maybe he would, be interested in taking some of the young people backpacking. So he took the high school kids.
The first time there was only 8 guys. That time they didn't let any girls go until Ellen went along. By '69, things changed.
Of course, the high school kids, that was wonderful, but their parents wanted to go too. So then he started taking these family backpack trips.
June 10th, 1979. On most days, I get up about 6:30. This is about the time that the sun strikes the higher peaks.
8 packets, right? Because it's 1 cup per packet.
By 7:30, everyone should be awake, washed. Well, washing is optional. Ready for breakfast. Every day of the trip will be a hiking day.
Have I? Yeah, from
Mosquito Pass.
Remember, you are stronger than you think you are. Remember, you are never too old or too young. Remember, you are surrounded by friends who want you to succeed, and you will. We will share our lives completely, but none of us will see the same Sierra. For backpacking is also an internal experience that happens to you alone.
So he went camping. He was the first backpacker. So now Ellen's generation 2, or generation 3. This is our fourth generation backpackers. These kids before I go back. I mean, so we're at our fourth generation.
Oh, we'll kill the old red rooster when she comes. Hack, hack. Kill the old red rooster when she comes. Hack, hack. We'll kill the old red rooster. We'll kill the old red rooster. We'll kill the old red rooster when she comes.
And were you guys on Grandpa's last trip?
What was that?
Were you guys on Grandpa's last trip?
Yeah,
I was not.
I got the honor of carrying his pack for him on that
That was
last
the
trip.
first time I think I ever saw
That's
him.
what everybody said
ever
when
give
he,
up.
because I was just being considerate. I already got to camp and I came back, and he was at the back there, and I offered to carry his pack, and I didn't think he'd say yeah, and he said yeah. Then we got him out
He
on.
took a couple stumbles too.
He
that
did. No,
trip.
remember he fell off that log.
How old was he? He was like
88.
89. Yeah,
89, 88.
I remember Ellen saying at one point, Grandpa was quiet, and she said, "Are you okay, Dad?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just saying goodbye to the Sierras." Because he knew he could never do it again.
Don't let it fall out. Keep that water safe, every drop of it.
May 1st, 1977. All of us will bring back scratches, blisters, and aching muscles. But we will also come back with flatter stomachs, stronger lungs, and a sense of confidence that will enable us to face a world that much of the time seems insane. Each of us will bring home a different treasure. Each of us, like pack rats, will drag home our own Sierra.
that's Upper Indiana.
Do you know where that is, Dad?
What?
Do you know where that is?
No.
No?
Ellen, you still have that shirt.
Oh, look, that looks like Bear Creek too, doesn't it?
Does that look like Bear Creek, Bob?
Doesn't look like anything to me.
State-of-the-art backpack.
That was a picture of the Olympics.
He's wearing your hat, Dad.
Bruce, you're unhappy about something, buddy.